climb threads on just for this call?
I did. And full disclosure, my office knows I'm out this week. We're baseballing this morning. So yeah, this is my baseball attire.
Well, I'm glad you showed up. I'm
not playing baseball.
I'm glad you showed up. Thank you.
Me too. Excited to talk.
All right, let's rock it. Let's rock and roll. All right, here's numbers. So Rockwall County, 174 active listings, still quite a bit up in the active listing inventory. We have 36 active option, 58 pending, and 47 sold. Pretty good numbers, right? Mm-hmm. You're looking at the graph, the inventory is pretty promising. If I jump over to Dallas County, you can just see on the blue line, obviously inventory is way up. 1,241 active listings, 509 sold, 511 pending, and 347 active option. Those numbers are holding strong. Collin County is just a skyrocket of active inventory. They're up over 1,000 active inventory right now. 336 sold, 339 pending, 216 active option. If we jump out to the lake, their inventory is way up as well. But they also had some spikes in solds. So maybe people are trying to get in that lake house before 4th of July weekend. Not really sure, but we've got 17 sold, 35 a week ago, 26 pending, and 14 active options. So those are some pretty good numbers, right? It looks like, hang on 2 seconds, the chart didn't get updated here. Hang on. AA, not Z, AA. There we go. All right, so yeah, we spiked a week ago in closing, but then it went backwards this week. So obviously everything holds to an average, but active inventory is way up. So here's where I want to go with this conversation. So there's this graphic in the shift book that talks about holding the line. We've talked about, like, you got to maintain your market share in a contracting market. However, the label on this side of the graph is sales activity, or you could say closings, right? And the assumption in this is that the market is contracting, meaning less sales. However, if you go to our charts, and the green line is solds, right? We haven't seen it contract yet. Yeah. So it's holding here. I go to Kaufman County, it's holding. Dallas County, it may be a little down, but it's still pretty over 500. Collin County looks like it's held its own. Even if I go out to the lake, they bounce around more just because of the sheer number difference, but it looks like it's holding. So when we start talking about, is the market shifting, you're going to feel it before it happens. One, meaning there's less people looking at your listings, less people walking into your open houses, less offers coming in. However, I'm not sure it's actually changing the number of houses we're selling yet. What do you think?
Yeah, so I don't have it for June because we haven't finished the month of June, but going back and looking at months of inventory from this time, like even May and the movement, there's not a whole sales volume. I mean, everything is staying pretty similar to this time last year. Just the climate around it is different. Yeah. So
it feels different for sure.
It feels different. But just in, the shift book, it's like anything else. It happens gradually and then suddenly. So I don't think we're often having the conversation of, doubling down on activities. Sheer numbers in the month of May, again, I don't have June, were they were similar, even at the lake. So pulled Henderson and looked at Rockwall County, and it was eerily similar as far as homes sold, days on market. Days on market were the same, and then months of inventory was up slightly,
Right.
but still very close. Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
It's interesting.
I mean, at the end of the day, I couldn't show you on paper yet that we're in a shift. However, every conversation we have talks about it, and there's a feeling out there that there's a slowdown. And quite honestly, the motivation of the government right now is to create that slowdown. So
Sure.
We're expecting it to come. I hadn't seen it yet. If you're an agent that's never experienced a shift, it's something to be aware of, but you've got to dive into activity and dive into being proactive. As long as you are in activity land and proactive land, you will thrive. It's the ones that sit around and wait. Now, I've always used the analogy of surfing. Like, if I go to a beach and there's waves and those waves are coming in, if I ride the wave, in this analogy, the market's the wave, the ocean's going to create my reality of what experience I have. Right. But if I get on a surfboard and surf the wave, I create my own experience based on with what I have to work with. Well, the market's going to do what the market's going to do. It's just your job to create your own reality out of what's given to us. We're going to talk a little bit about that here in a second. So, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Well, just even talking with some of our agent, we've been talking, this is a skill set market. So, sellers are starting to freak out if they don't have an offer in the first 10 days. So educate yourself, get the skill set so you can have the conversation. That keeps happening a lot where, 10 days and they're wanting to, freak out. So anyway, I wanted to throw that out there that needs to be coached around for sure.
Well, we're in unprecedented times here. This is monthly inflation. And, last month I was all excited because, the government's been raising these interest rates, and we actually saw inflation start to come down, and it went backwards. Now, core inflation's come way down, but regular inflation's come down a little bit, but then we went back up to an all-time high of 8.6 around inflation. And why that's important to understand is it's a nervous energy in Washington. And the nervous energy means they got to take monetary policy or the cost of money and do something about it to bring that number down. And by doing that, you're going to see some increased interest rates. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw some pretty high interest rates, but is that going to bring the real estate market to a dead stop? Not at all. It'll slow it down a little bit, and we maybe need to slow it down a little bit. But if, like I said, if you're activity focused and proactive, you will thrive no matter what happens because you're surfing the wave instead of just riding it. I thought there was something else in here I wanted to just put up on the screen real quick that I thought was really cool. Was I got my real estate license. Susan Hubeck was my first team leader in 1999. And the interest rate was 7.4% when I got into it. And it's still higher than what it is today. And I didn't even think anything of it. I was like, okay, let's go. And I was selling houses and life was good. And it even got up into the 8% the next year. And then it slowly did its climb down to basically the bottom, which was last year at 2.96, right? But you think about it, like somebody that buys a house today at let's just be wild and say 6% interest rate. How long is it going to stay at that interest rate? It could stay 5 years, could stay 10 years. I don't think it'll stay 30 years. You're not going to pay 6% interest for 30 years. I think there'll be an opportunity to refinance. I think the cost of money will come back down because they want it to come back down. However, you just got to kind of watch it. But this is the
Yeah.
crazy chart here, which just shows at the bottom was 2.74 at the first of the year. And look at this climb. Like, that's what we're feeling.
Right.
Go back here, July 2018. It wasn't too far off where we're at now.
Right.
Remember, everything's about widening the perspective.
Well, and I think that chart of interest rates is very powerful, because if you look at history does repeat itself, and we go back to, kind of see what has happened historically to predict the future as much as we can. There is no true prediction, but it hasn't, you're exactly right. There 2-3 years in a row is the most I've seen since the beginning of interest rates staying the same. And then it went down, went back up, went down. So I think that's a powerful tool to use to show your buyers, honestly.
100%. 100%.
Oh,
all right.
I like that.
So Forney is a heck of a place to be buying houses right now, apparently. So
Yeah.
Forney and Aubrey up at North Denton are the hottest suburbs for home buyers right now. Where'd they get that data? It's basically done by zip codes of where people are buying their houses. And if you look at this list, all over the US, they have Forney at number 8 in the hottest zip code. Home buyers are moving and calling home, as they coined the phrase in here. So I found that interesting. And then Aubrey up north of 380 is number 15, which is still pretty hot compared thought they originally would, but they're going there to buy houses. And so much that there is a new 1,100 acre master plan community planned for Forney. And Forney's kind of the ground zero of master plan communities, which I remember when Windmill Farms was being built and all that stuff going on up there. And it's Coppin County, Forney ISD. We kind of understand all that. But this same developer did Windsong Ranch and Prosper, if you want to know what it kind of looks like. But that is a $1.5 billion master plan community. And basically what I think is happening is they're capitalizing on all the first-time home buyers that didn't buy a house in the last 2 years, and they're all going to be targeted for new construction in the Forney marketplace, which for us should be a huge opportunity.
It is.
It's in our backyard. What would you say?
I agree 100%, because I definitely hear of people wanting to be in this area. Rockwall, Heath, they're just in different price points, so they're traveling a little farther out. And Forney, Fate's even getting more expensive, but Forney is really hot for your first time home buyers, 100%. So,
yeah. Well, remember, and this is 2 years out, so you're not going to see the first sale here for 2 years.
Right.
Home prices are expected to start in the high 200s for townhomes and low 300,000 for single family homes. I mean, it's the old story of buying a big cow pasture and turning it into real estate, right? Like the cost of land has got to be astronomically low comparatively to be able to build in that price range. Yet this is just those prices won't last forever. They'll go up and up. But at the end of the day, I think this is really strong for our area, 1, and 2. It just goes to show that if you have the vision and you understand the need of the market and the opportunity, you can go capitalize on that. And this developer we should as well. All right.
Yeah.
You threw this one in there. Hit me.
Well, we talk about geographic farming, and I don't think there's a true understanding of what it is and how long it actually, it's a long play. It's not a short-term play. So 5 things to know before choosing a farm. It really was talking about how many homes have sold in 12 months to see if it financially makes sense for you to spend what they deem about $24 a household. So if there's 300 homes in a community, you're looking at $7,200. So how many homes have sold in the area in the past 12 months is always good to look at. What was the average price point, to see if it, makes sense in looking at the turnover, and then also knowing your competition. If there's already an agent that owns the neighborhood, they suggested that's going to be harder to break into, so find a different community. And it's a long play. Don't expect to sell for 12 months. And this is an opinion piece. But I thought it was pretty
No,
spot
I
on
like it.
with
I've never heard the
what it was.
$24 per household budget.
Yeah. And I don't know where the data came from, but that's what they were. But I could see that's probably about $7,200 to farm, whether mailers, however you choose to touch your people in an area. That was the guesstimated price point per household.
Yeah. So at $2 per household a month, $24 household a year, you get a 400 home farm. That's $9,600 a year budgeted for marketing. And then what kind of rate of return would you need to get to feel good about that? Obviously, year one, you may not get a great rate of return, but by year two, I would think you need to be at least 2 times return, if not 3 or 4 on that marketing. And so I could just do the math here. Let's go 2 times return, which is not 19,000 divided by 3%. Says I need to sell $640,000 worth of real estate to get a 2 times return. Well, if it's an average price range of $300,000, that's 2 sales.
2 sales.
Yeah. And then we could go from there. But but
it's good to know what the turnover rate in the neighborhood, because there's certain neighborhoods in our area, the homes just don't move. So I wouldn't target those areas. I would target an area that there is, at least some type of turnover in the community.
Yep. The other thing, I thought this was interesting. Do you have the capacity to focus on the farm area? Meaning, do you have time to commit to promoting neighborhood events, family photo day, food truck night, a movie night in the community park? Make sure you're making a commitment here. And it's a good commitment to make, but you got to make sure you understand the commitment you're making. It's really important.
In master plan communities where there's a clubhouse, they do have movie nights that you can sponsor. So it's not, you don't have to go and create anything, but yes, you do need to be committed to the process.
Okay. So flippers are profiting quite a bit in Dallas, Fort Worth. Couple stats that I think are important to understand. 13% of DFW home sales first quarter were flips. That's a considerable amount. However, here was some interesting stats. It said these homes were typically purchased for around $300,000 and sold for $342,000, meaning a gross profit of $45,000. Not counting renovation costs or other expenses. I'm struggling to see the numbers in there. First of all, there's not a big margin there. However, I thought this was more telling. It said the flip properties in North Texas were typically 1,802 square feet and built in 1992. What's crazy to me is 1992 was 30 years ago. So that tells me that age range is kind of the typical flip home age range of a house that's been there for 30 years, hasn't been updated, hasn't been maintained. There's probably some deferred maintenance on it. And I can control my cost as a property flipper at 1,800 square feet, meaning my forward around flips, and there's going to be some opportunity coming forward around buy and holds that we need to be prepared to talk people through. Gary Keller on Keller Inc. We'll put this link out there. Erica's got it.
Okay.
Avoid the risk and apply the right criteria to any investment type. This is straight out of the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book. Create a criteria that you use to evaluate any investment you're considering. I call this the buy box, meaning define what the criteria is first. Otherwise, you'll fall in love with a property and you'll stretch your criteria, and that's where you go south. It's kind of like dating, Erica. Like, you got to decide what you want in a partner before you go out there, because once you fall in love, all bets are off, and you'll compromise all your values. It's the same thing with investing. You got to define what you want on the front end, so you don't fall in love with a deal and compromise your values of what you know to be true.
Yeah.
And then evaluate all investment properties with these same criteria. That's what we're talking about. And when your opportunity meets your criteria, move fast. Meaning, I'm looking for a 30-year-old house, 1,800 square feet, that has a margin of $75,000. Oh, I should buy, right? Like, and move quickly, because time is everything on these deals, because you're never the only one looking.
Yeah.
And we can just put this article out there. He talks about buying stocks. He talks about buying rental property. Talks about understanding your criteria. This is a great article. And why am I bringing this up right now? It's because I hate just being the flag carrying guy around. Hey, we're shifting. I can't even show you on paper yet we're shifting, but we know it's coming.
Mhm.
But in a shift, it's about finding opportunity.
Mhm.
And investing is a huge opportunity of a contracting real estate market. Whether you personally are investing, or personally flipping houses, or personally buying and holding, or teaching people how to do it, or partnering with investors that do it, there is big money and big opportunity in understanding this part of our industry. The other article that Erika, you've got, you can share with people, is you also got to make sure you understand what the heck mortgages are. And I don't mean be an expert on it, but I do think you have a level of fiduciary duty to be able to explain certain things about mortgages. This is a great article that talks about what mortgages are. And then down here, it even goes into a whole thing about adjustable rate mortgages, and how adjustable rate mortgages have interest rates that fluctuate over the life of the loan. Unlike their fixed rate counterparts, the interest rate secured at the beginning of the loan is only temporary. Usually the starting rate for an ARM is incredibly low. Then slowly, depending on the rate index, the interest rate may increase if rates are on the rise, which they are right now. But how do you explain that to somebody? Because they're scared of it. And the truth is, an adjustable rate mortgage is a conventional backed product, right? Like, it's a Fannie Mae government guaranteed loan. So it's not B paper. It's not a shady lien. It's pretty normal. Yet I was thinking about this the other day. Like, when's the last time we used adjustable rate mortgages? Probably like 2010, 2009.
8, 9.
So how many people we're in business with were not selling real estate then?
A lot.
They've never been exposed to this. So it's a little bit of going back and learning and refreshing and understanding how to explain it, right? And getting those scripts and dialogues up to speed.
And I saw my first, I'm sure there's been several. I just know of one. One of my friend agents in Midland, they're doing their first assumable.
Yeah, those are coming too, right? Like,
yeah.
So it's a skills-based market. Sounds like a leadership term to say that. And I'll admit that. And I will say it's a reality. Meaning, when times are shifting, there's going to be new skills you have to develop. That means you may have to go back to class. It may be you need to learn some things in team meeting around what is an assumable mortgage, what is an adjustable rate mortgage, how do I explain it? Price reductions. We hadn't reduced prices on listings in I don't know how long. It's coming.
It's already
probably
here.
already here.
It's already here.
So
Yeah.
what's that skill set look like? Like, it's time to get back into the training room, learn some stuff, so we can go thrive, because at the end of the day, we know how to help you thrive. You just got to plug in and meet us halfway. And then you got to
Yeah.
do the work.
And I'm going to piggyback. I'm going
I'm
to
going to
do
give you the last word.
well, just to promote our trainings every 10:30 Tuesday, we are having a shift moment where our lovely, beautiful OP is having a moment educating, and then we talk about it. We mastermind around some talking points, and it's been very valuable. So there's plenty of opportunities inside of our market center to develop your skills and to sharpen your skills. So every 10:30 Tuesday, be there. So we're here to help and navigate this together. So I do want to shamelessly promote the series we're leading into.
Yeah, well, it's timing's perfect on that right now, right? Like,
Right.
it's time to freshen up. It's time to get going. There you
That's
go.
right. Yep. Being proactive is everything. Don't wait for it to happen, and then you're working backwards. So we need to work forwards.
There you go. Happy Monday.
All right. Bye.